Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Upper Room. This week, I wanted to talk to you all a little bit about my personal testimony, and that I hope that most of you get inspired by hearing the love of God in my life. So, when I was born in Long Beach, California, and I was born in 1983. I was born without breathing for 3 minutes. So I had some brain damage, and I had learning disabilities all through school. It was always very difficult for me to learn. So I was in special classes to try and help me get through school. I was one of those kids that fell into that group in the 90s of children with attention deficit disorder. And lots of parents were giving their kids medications and all kinds of stuff to keep them calmed down from being hyperactive. I was one of these children, but I actually had a medical diagnosis because I didn't breathe for 3 minutes when I was born. And so I did take medications from a very young age. When I got into high school and I came into experimentation with recreational drugs, it was a no-brainer for me because I would most of my life I was already taking something to make me feel different with the medications and things that I was taking. So when I started experimenting with recreational drugs, everything just kind of took off from there, and it was all downhill. And so I had a dual diagnosis of an addiction problems as well as psychological problems with medications and things like that. And so as time went on for approximately 8 years, I had this monkey on my back, and I could not get rid of it. And so I basically called out to Jesus, accepted Jesus in those times. I was baptized for the first time when I was 22 years old. I basically came to know Jesus and meet Jesus, and things started to look up, but I was always falling back, constantly, all the time, always falling back. And a lot of times Jesus was there to pick me up, and a lot of times he'd let me go through the things that I did wrong and faced my consequences. A lot of times when there were very grave consequences, it was almost as if I felt that that my punishment should have been worse, and a lot of times it wasn't. And I really believe that that was God, working in my life. Then it wasn't until I got older and I became Catholic that I actually was able to completely stop everything. And it wasn't because of me, it's because Jesus and the sacraments brought that strength in my life, and it got rid of anything that was bothering me. So today I don't take medications. I do not use recreational drugs. I no longer drink. I also, when I was going through high school, because of all my problems that I had, I did not graduate. I went back later and I got my GED. I learned a trade, air conditioning refrigeration technician, and after that I progressively continued moving that way. I got my welding certifications and continuously pursued being an electrician. Today I also, now I've written 2 books, to date. There are more on the way, and so I'm also an author, and I also am married, and I have 2 children. One is on the way, and the reason why it's so important for me to have a child is because out of my father's side that had 6 siblings, only one had a boy, which is my dad, and that's me. So I'm the only one to carry on the last name. So we're praying that our child is a boy, because then my name doesn't die with me. So it's a big responsibility. So the reason why I'm telling you all this is because I want you to see that how horrible everything that I was affected me, and how I was going nowhere. I was a nobody. I was the scum of the earth. Wasn't meant to become successful in any way, shape, or form. Wasn't meant to make it. Couldn't have a normal job. Couldn't be in normal school. Couldn't think right. I was broken. But Jesus changed all that. It didn't matter. He took me and my life and my brokenness and the scum that I was, and he pulled me out of the pit. He pulled me out of that life. He pulled me out of all those troubles and pain and sorrow and all of these thoughts of I'm not worthy or I'm not worth anything, or all of these things, which a lot of times I know I'm not worthy of God. I know I'm not. But God, Jesus shows us that God uses the foolish things of this world to shame the wise, the weak to shame the strong. The Bible says those who cleanse themselves from the latter will be used for holy purposes for the Master. All of us think that we're too far gone, we've sinned too much, we're losers, we're not going to make it. And with that mindset, you never will. And you'll never do it on your own. You're dealing with spiritual forces that you can't see, that want you to perish. And Jesus can protect you from them. Jesus can save you from them. And Jesus can help you fight back. And he'll put you on his side in his name to fight for good. The devil and demons afflict you because you have a destiny, because you are important, because there's things about you that you don't understand that can change the world for better. And so the devil can't have that happen in his house. So they focus on you. Believe in Jesus Christ. Follow him, and your entire life will change. So thanks again for watching Upper Room. I'm Jared. I'll see you again next week.